Hello everyone. Feels like a little while since I've been on this video. Here we are back for a conversation about imposter syndrome, something that you may well have experienced or know somebody who experiences. Definitely something that was in my experience. Self-doubt and that imposter syndrome feeling was just like a constant low rumbling, um, what's the word? Like chronic experience, which was so prevalent. And this is something that so many people say to me, it was so prevalent and so constant that I didn't even really realize it was there or how significant it was until it was gone. And then once it was gone, it was like, oh my God, I've been living in that for so long. And that's so often what people experience with this because these negative feelings, these negative experiences have just been around for so long that we've started to think they're who we are and they're just how we are and that there's no other option. But I am here to tell you it is not true. There is another way. So, this imposter syndrome topic came to my awareness. I mean, it's something, of course, that clients come to me with all the time. But then I heard it mentioned in the book that I'm listening to at the moment. So, this book is called Onlyness by Nilufer Merchant. And she talks about imposter syndrome in that. But forgive me, I can't remember which chapter I'm on. I think 28 or something like that. Um, there's a lot of chapters. They're short, but there's a lot of chapters. Anyway, yeah, she mentioned imposter syndrome, and she was saying the best cure for imposter syndrome is to shift your attention from the self-centered, egoic me and put your attention on your purpose, on the bigger difference you want to make in the world, on the bigger change you want to see in the world, on the big idea, whatever it is that is the big thing that gets you going, your passion, your purpose, your thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. Um, and I was listening to it going, well, yeah, absolutely. We are naturally designed to flow outwards. We are naturally designed to flow our energy outwards into the world, whatever our uniqueness is. Obviously, her book, Onlyness, is about us being our unique self, which only we can be. There is no other like you. You are unique. You are the only one like you. And so we are naturally designed to flow our unique energy outwards. And then, of course, energy will come back to us in all sorts of forms of money and relationships and houses and cars and businesses and holidays and connection and flowers, whatever it is. Energy flows out, energy flows back. And the cleaner and clearer we are in ourselves emotionally, the more easily and effortlessly that happens, and the more we enjoy that process because that's our natural way. Like little kids are always such a great example of this. You know, up till about the age of 18 months, 2 years old, little kids aren't self-analyzing. They're not got imposter syndrome, they've not got self-doubt. They're just being who they are. They're flowing and expressing in the world. Does it mean they're always happy? No. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they get upset, sometimes they want something, and therefore they will cry and they potentially, as they get older, they'll start having tantrums. But that is exactly the thing. The self-referential capacity has started to kick in and they start having tantrums. But in those earlier days, they're in this natural flowing outwards of being themselves, being pure expressions of light and love and beauty and brilliance, and receiving back from the world food and clean bums and milk and cuddles and playtime. And it's just this natural giving and taking, flowing and of giving and receiving. And so that's how we are naturally meant to be, which is why Nilufer's advice makes perfect sense. That with an experience of imposter syndrome, the thing to help you get out of that experience is to put your attention on what it is you want to create in the world. What is your purpose? What is it that matters to you? What is it that lights you up? That is your unique thing to do for and in the world. And yes, brilliant. It's true. But that's only possible when you're not being dragged backwards by a negative identity. So when you're free of negative identities, that suggestion makes perfect sense. Yeah, of course. Let's shift my attention from me with my worries about being an imposter and let me put my attention on the thing that I want to do or be or create in the world. And that will shift my attention. I will get focused on flowing outwards again. And when you're clean and clear, when there's no negative identity, you hear that information makes sense, and you just start doing the thing. You just shift your attention and start doing whatever the thing is that is your purpose in the world. And then you're back in the flow again, you're just doing the thing, and you're back in the zone, and you're feeling on fire, or even just quite happily putting your attention out there, whether you're on fire or whether you're on mediocre fire. It's like you're just happily doing the thing, whatever the thing is. When there's a negative identity involved, that is where the problems start. Because these negative identities that we unknowingly created in times of emotional stress or upset when we are younger, so it doesn't have to mean big traumatic childhood. I could guarantee every single human being has had an upsetting experience as a child that felt too big, that felt overwhelming, and therefore in that moment they unknowingly created this negative identity. And then in the horror of the whole thing, buried it all away into the subconscious. Let's just pretend that did not happen. But what that means as we're growing up is that we split our attention. So we're naturally designed, as I said, to have our attention here flowing outwards into the world, and then we receive back from the world, and we keep our attention here and we receive back. When we're trying to navigate a buried negative identity, our attention is instantaneously split because there's part of us that knows we're designed for this outflowing energy into the world to create and deliver on our purpose. But there's part of us that's like dealing with this thing that we've buried away. Because although we've buried it and we've put it out of our conscious awareness, there is part of us that still knows that's there. We still know that we buried that. We still know that there's this horrible thing that we shoved away, as I tend to say, in the cupboard. And we're trying to like keep the cupboard door shut while at the same time keeping our attention focused on the outside world. So to bring little kids into it again is in a different kind of way, it's the same as when you're trying to keep your attention on a grown-up conversation out here. You're talking to the teacher, you're talking to another parent, you're talking to somebody in an official office job where you're trying to get, I don't know, a passport or a bank account or a visa or something, something where you're trying to pay attention and be like a proper grown-up, talking to a proper grown-up. And yet you've got this toddler at your skirt or your trousers going, Mummy, Mummy, Daddy, Daddy, give me attention, give me attention. And so you're like, shh, shh, trying to keep focus on this person that you're talking to. And little kids are there again, tugging, tugging, trying to get your attention. Shh, quiet, quiet. Let me pay attention to this person. I'm trying to talk here. Back, trying to put attention on this person that you're meant to be having a proper conversation with again. And then the little kid, but, oh my God, would you just be quiet? Oh, that was I used to do with my kids anyway. Don't know about you. So we've got this split attention. It does not feel good because because we split our attention. B, because the reason for the split is because we're trying to keep this thing in the cupboard that we really didn't ever want to experience again, but it keeps blooming tugging on our skirt or our trousers and trying to get our attention. And this is what makes it, therefore, so impossible to just take that simple instruction of take attention off yourself and put it on your purpose. Because the instant you try and put your attention on your purpose, that thing is tugging at your attention again, going, let me out the cupboard, let me out the cupboard, let me out the cupboard, banging and crashing and causing problems and pulling you back, causing you to hook into all the negative thoughts, all the doubt, all that imposter syndrome, all that I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable enough. What if I make a mistake? What if I'm a failure? What if they laugh at me? What if I look stupid? What if somebody else knows more than me? What if I lose money, business, my job, my house, my family? All these thoughts then suddenly start to look really true because this negative identity creates the horrible feeling which makes those thoughts seem true. And therefore, this split of attention continues, even if you're trying to keep your attention on the outside world and on your purpose and on the difference you want to make in the world. You've still got this damn thing in the cupboard that keeps pestering you and keeps dragging your attention down and keeps making those negative thoughts seem so true and so believable. And over time, as you get older, it gets worse and worse. So in your teens, and in fact, in your teens, you're probably oblivious to it. In your 20s, maybe into probably definitely into your 30s, you start to become more aware of this doubt, this imposter syndrome, this uncertainty of self. So the cupboard monster, the negative identity, is getting louder and louder and louder, taking more and more of your attention, which makes it harder and harder to stay focused on this outward purpose and outwards direction of travel, because it's like the amplification over the years of this has just gotten so big, which is why sometimes in your 20s, sometimes in your 30s, certainly with the generations coming through now, it seems to be 20s and 30-year-olds who are becoming aware of these things a lot faster. For people in my generation, it's in our 40s and 50s where we have tended to go, this is not tenable. I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep feeling the tension, the uncomfortable tension of this split in attention. I want to have my focus on my purpose, but this damn thing in the cupboard is just pulling me back again and again and again. And I want to put my full attention outwards. That's really what our system is always saying. It's wanting to resolve this dichotomy. It's wanting to resolve this disharmony, this dis-ease, this discomfort. It's wanting you to be back. We are wanting to be back with our attention flowing outwards again, where it's rightfully designed to be, because it's not designed to be on us, squirreling away inside of ourselves with doubt and uncertainty. It's not designed to be split on this thing in the cupboard that you're trying to keep shut away. Your attention is designed to be flowing outwards into the world, creating, doing, making a difference, making a positive impact for yourself, for others, for the world as a whole. And it's only when you've dealt with these negative identities that you then can make that shift and choose to keep your attention outwards. These negative identities, they take all sense of control out of that situation. You don't feel in charge. You don't feel like you can choose to just put your attention outwards. Or if you do temporarily, it's like the cupboard monster sucks you back again. This negative identity sucks you back again into the whirlpool of yuck that these things create inside of us. The negative thoughts, the negative feelings, the negative behaviors. It's all the product of that negative identity that you unknowingly created in that moment of upset as a child and then buried away in that cupboard. In that moment, it was all in a moment of survival. It all made perfect sense in that moment of survival. But what you never did, because nobody ever told you, was deal with that thing in the cupboard. Nobody came along to you and said, hey, Johnny, you were upset yesterday. Let's use this MACE energy method process to help you deal with that and clean out your system. Nobody was telling you that. Nobody was bringing you that opportunity. So you just left it there in the cupboard. And then you got more stuff in the cupboard and you shoved that on top of it. And more and more and more and more, which is why we reach a point in our life where it becomes untenable to keep trying to deal with that stuff in the cupboard, keeping the door shut, while also keeping our attention focused outwards on the world. And that point of it becoming untenable is such a gift, because that is the point at which you go, right, I am done with this. I am doing something about it. Amazing. Because you're now in change. You've recognized the thing. You've decided you are done with the thing. And now you are in a place to take action to deal with the thing. And then once you've solved it, you are back outflowing in the world, able to focus on your purpose and the difference you want to make because the thing in the cupboard has been dealt with. Now, there are loads and loads and loads of ways available to us now with the internet that are saying, I will solve this problem for you. And I am one of those people who's saying, I will solve this problem for you. Your job is to decide which way you want to solve your problem. And I really want to emphasize this word solve, because there are plenty of things around on the market just now which will temporarily pacify, temporarily soothe, or temporarily, or even permanently remove a layer of some of this stuff that's in the cupboard. But I've not found anything as permanent, as effective, as efficient, because it really is fast, as the Mace Energy method. Nothing has dealt with stuff as effectively as this, in my experience. I have tried a lot of stuff. I've not tried everything, but I have tried a lot of stuff. And from my understanding of the way all of these things work, the way that we work as humans, we need, when we've buried this stuff in the cupboard, we need something that's going to get to a deeper level of who we are. We buried it in the cupboard for a reason, because it was so horrible in the moment. And so we need something that bypasses this human intellectual cognitive experience and gets to that stuff in the cupboard. And I've tried lots of things that involved lots of tears and lots of upset and lots of suffering, frankly. And the idea that, well, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like I've got to move through the shame. I've got to move through the tears of whatever it is for how many days or weeks. And then as long as I can move through it, then I will get to the other side. It did not work. It did not work. That's exactly what brought me to the Mace Energy method. And the Mace Energy method has been the only thing that has actually solved the problem without needing days or weeks or months of suffering, without needing to do any kind of habit or practice or integration process on the other side of the session. We do the work in the session, we deal with the problem in the session, you go off and live your life. And the more problems that you deal with like that, the better and better and better you feel. The more and more you empty the cupboard, the more and more you are back in your rightful place of choosing your life. And that if one of those uncertain feelings pops up again, you can clock it. You can go, that doesn't feel like the real me. And you can then choose to put your attention back on what you want to do and create, back on your purpose, back on the difference you want to make in the world. Exactly like Nilofer is suggesting in her book, Onlyness, and which is impossible until you have dealt with the negative identity in the cupboard. So I hope this has been useful for you to understand what's going on in your experience, what the very simple solution is, but also why that simple solution will not work if you are split attention, trying to keep the stuff in the cupboard while also pretending everything's okay and trying to have a purpose out here in the world as well. Simply deal with the stuff in the cupboard and you are back, able to choose to shift your attention into the purpose you're here to deliver on. And if I'm the one to work with you, I would be delighted to support you in discreating, deleting, removing, cleaning out this stuff from your emotional cupboard so that you get back in charge of your own life, creating your purpose. I look forward to meeting you there.